Testing. How's it going, everybody? One sec, I'm going to get the stream going here. All right. I don't know if anybody's watching, but I'm here. How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. We're gonna be doing some live streaming tonight. I'm gonna try to make some mods live. I hope it can be fun for everybody. If you're here, say hi in the chat. I'll be answering questions as I go. But I'm just gonna do some live modding for a bit. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna be making this this nice Bale trailer. I found it in real life. I took some pictures. I took some measurements, and I'm gonna just start making it from a straight up Blender cube. We're just gonna go straight from Blender cube to Bale trailer. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. I hope you enjoy watching some live modding. It's been a long time since I did any live modding here, but yeah, you should be able to see in the top left. That's the Bale trailer we're going to be making. It's a Mac lander. It was manufactured in Osceola, Iowa. It's just like a simple 6 Bale trailer. It's pretty simple. I saw it as I was walking around in real life. You know, I just saw it and I was like, wait, this is some pretty simple geometric shapes, and I've been wanting to make some live modding videos. I thought people would enjoy watching it, learning it. People can play it back. They can, you know, see how I do it, maybe learn some tips and tricks. I want to make a disclaimer here that I am not an outstanding modder. I know some things about Blender, and that's what I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to claim to be an expert or anything. So, with that being said, let's open this up. Let's open this bad boy up. So here's our reference picture. I've got a bunch of personal pictures on my phone in front of me. We're going to be focusing on that. Let me try something here. Let me try doing Blender and turning off my display capture. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay. I'm going to see if I can just capture Blender instead of my entire desktop. Properties. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Nope, that didn't work. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope some of you have showed up. I'm not actually looking at chat at this very moment. It's fine. We'll stay with this for now. It's not a big deal. If you're here, feel free to say hi. This is definitely an interactive kind of stream we're going to have, where I'm going to be doing things, and I'm hoping people will be answering questions. Let me just go to my general chat and type at everyone. I am live streaming some modding. Feel free to drop in and watch if you want. Let me post my link. So that'll be good. I hope yeah, let's just get started with this. Hopefully people will find this video useful later. Okay, so we have our basic Blender model. It's just a cube, as all Blender models tend to start as. So first off, you can see there, it's a... I think we're going to start off by making the frame. And if my measurements I have on my phone are correct, I believe that frame is 4 inches by 8 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into edit mode. I don't even have to go into edit mode. We're perfectly centered, so I want to keep this object centered. So I'm just going to go G for grab, and then I'm going to press Z, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit because this thing isn't going to be sitting against the ground, right? It's going to be about there. So we'll have it up in the air. That's nice. All right, so what we can do is, first off, I love working around the 3D cursor. This up here will tell you, hey, what is my reference for all my movements, and I'm going to make this be the 3D cursor. I like that. Also, snap mode. I love snapping to vertexes, and I love snapping to the center. And I'm going to turn that on so I can start snapping to things. That will be nice. So I can snap to things correctly, nicely, neatly, etc., etc. All right. So we've got this object here. First off, let's go to our scene properties. By default, I'm working from a default model because it's easier to follow that way. You'll see all the things that need to be done. And we'll go to our units, and we're going to change to imperial because I am a plebeian American, and I work in imperial units when I'm doing these things mainly because all the tape measures and things around me that measure are doing it in inches. So, and not to mention, a lot of the stuff here in America is also designed in inches, so it often ends up being a more rounded number, right? So we're going to set it to imperial, and I'm going to go, instead of feet, I'm going to go inches because I measured this object in inches. So now that I've done that, I can press, I don't even have to do that. I can just come over here, and there's this measure tool. And you see that it's snapping to the corners here. That's because this magnet is turned on, and that's going to zap me over to some vertexes. So if I go here, I can snap to this vertex. I just clicked and nothing happened. It's 0 inches. Why is that? Well, you have to hold and drag. So I'm going to click this, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to click hold, and then I'm going to drag here. Be careful because sometimes it'll measure across a diagonal, but that's okay. This is totally fixable. I'm just going to grab this corner, and I'm going to move it to here, and there you go. You can see our basic Blender cube is 78.7402 inches. Obviously, that's way too big. We don't want to do that. So I've got my mod help spreadsheet. Right now we are at 78.7402 inches. And I want it to be 4 inches. So this is how we need to scale it. I'm going to copy that number. I'm going to come to Blender. I'm going to go back to select box, and I'm going to select this object just to make sure I have it selected. I'm going to press tab, and then I'm going to scale, pressing S to scale. Oh, one more thing. Let me go snap cursor to selected. Otherwise, if you're not, you're younger right now than you are right now. I don't know what that means, Ghost, but thanks for dropping in. I probably sound younger. I should probably move my microphone closer and not kill my screen. 1 second. That's a good point. Let me do this, and let me tighten that bad boy there. Move my nice Blue Yeti microphone a little closer. That's good, right? That's how the pro streamers do it. All right. You get older by the second. I have no idea what that means, but I'll take your word for it. Probably means because I'm moving my microphone closer to my face. Probably should have set this up beforehand, and I'm totally delaying what everybody's learning. But anyway, regardless, remember how we copied this number? I just scaled it down. I want it to be 4 inches. So now that we've I right click and I snapped my cursor to the selected object, which is at the center of the origin here. So looking at it from, I believe the way you want to model it is you want the Y direction pointing, if the tractor would be over here if it was in front of it. So we're going to have the tractor be over here in front of the camera. And you want your object to go across the x-axis. So I'm going to come from behind it, and then I'm going to press S to scale. I'm going to press X to scale it in the X direction, and then I'm going to paste the scale we needed to get it to 4 inches across. I'll press Enter. Ah, it's all thin now. Looks kind of weird, doesn't it? We took the object and we scaled it in the X direction by, what was it, like 0.05 or something? So that's good. I'm going to come over here to the Measure tool. Let's make sure we can press the center to delete. And then I'm going to make sure, oh, look at that. It's 4 inches across, just like in real life. We took that big old cube that made no sense, and we scaled it down to be 4 inches. Fantastic. Okay, so we took our cube and we squished it, right? It's 4 inches thick now, but there's a problem. You see the trailer up there? It also has a tallness, and that tallness is not correct. I believe, from looking at the measurements I took of this object in real life, it is 8 inches tall. So what are we going to do? We're going to come here. We're going to come here. So first off, I believe this should be the same height because it started off as a cube, right? Equilateral lengths. So 78.7402. Yep, that's good. And then we want it to be, instead of 4 inches, we want it to be 8. And all this does is divides our size by our desired size to get the scale we need. So I'm going to copy the scale. I'm going to come here, got the object. I'm going to press S to scale, and I'm going to scale it in the Z direction, which is the up and down direction. I'm going to paste the scale we needed, press Enter. Boom. That looks a little bit better, doesn't it? If we measure from here to here, we can see we're 7.9999999 inches. So we're pretty much perfect there. I could scale it, I could move it up by 0.000001, but that doesn't really matter. That's pretty much perfect, which is nice. Look at that. All right. So we have a rectangle instead of a cube, and it is 4 inches by 8 inches, as it should be. Okie dokie. So then what? Obviously, the next thing we need to do is we need to get this Bale trailer to the proper length. I messed up my measurements a little bit in the field while I was doing this. Oops-a-daisy. But I think I have the math and the knowledge to fix it. Okay, so I love using Excel. I'm an engineer, so I love using Excel for everything. Here's what we're going to do. I know that the length of this giant trailer from, let me try to pull up the measurement here. We're going to get the frame correct first, and then we can move on, I think, to the spears on the side. But I would love to get this length correct. Okay. So I know from, there are four bale holders, right? 2, oh yeah, there are 6 on each side. 2, and then the wheel, and then 2 more, and then 2 more. I know the length from the very back to the third one from the front is 164.5 inches. So right now, this object is currently, remember, to measure, we start off in select mode to select the object, or we can go to measure right here, click this, and then we select this vertex, and we drag it out to this vertex, and our current length is 78 inches. Okay, so we're at 78.7402 because we started from a cube, right? So here's our scale, and we actually, this portion we want to be 164 inches. 164.5, including the little pieces at the ends that I measured from. So we're going to go to, what if we want this to be 164 inches long? We need to scale it by this much. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come here. I'm going to select the cube. Hey there, Jono. How you doing? I'm not sure if you're the same Jono I think you are, but I'm glad you're here. So we've got our object. We're going to scale in the Y direction, and I'm going to paste this. Boom. We have the length of the trailer from the very back over here all the way to the third tine from the front, which is here. This is about the point where I think we want this object to be a little more centered in the scene. So I'm just going to use the select tool to select this, press G to grab, Z to move in the Z direction, and I'm going to slide it down a little bit, closer to where it would be in the ground in real life. I also don't want this to be too far in front of the scene. Actually, you know what? That could be fine. You know, I'm just going to leave it here, but I am going to bring it down a little bit because it is going to be closer to the ground in real life. Is there anybody in my Discord chat? All right, let me actually post. Let me post this in. Let me try to get some more people in the stream here. Let people know what's going on. Hey, at stream. I am modding live. Come watch if you like. Oh, shoot. Let me copy this, put this here, and we'll get right back to modding very, very shortly. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. Let us continue. So, we've got the length of the Bale trailer from the back to the third time from the front. Unfortunately, my mistake was measuring to the... Let's see. Actually, maybe I did do this correctly. Maybe I did. Hold on. Let's try this. I can fix this later if I need to. But I actually think I took this measurement correctly. Yeah, because there would be 1, 2, and then there would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, I believe I took this measurement correctly, which is actually shocking. I did something right. That's amazing. Normally that doesn't happen. All right, so that would be 62 inches approximately. So what I can do here, if I want to add 62 inches to the length of the front, so let's say you have a bar like this. It's this long, and I want it to be a little longer, so I can come to the front here. I can come to edit mode, and here's where you really start messing with Blender. My shortcut for going to X-ray like this is Alt-Z. It's very useful for grabbing objects that are behind other certain things. Let me delete this measurement. And remember, if you're in the measurement thing, you won't be able to select any of these. It'll start creating measurements all over the place. Make sure you always go back to your select tool, which you can shortcut to with Shift Spacebar or B, which is your box. But let me go over here. I like clicking it. I'll grab these. And let's go use one of the most basic Blender functions ever, E. If I press E, you can extrude. You can extrude in, you can extrude out, but it adds another set of polys to the shape, and you can use it to change sizes. So I'm going to go E. You can press X to extrude in the X, Y to extrude in the Y, or Z to extrude in the Z. In this case, obviously, we want it to extrude in the Y direction. So I'm going to extrude in the Y direction, and I want to extrude it 62 inches. See how it went into it? Directions are important. Let's go -62. There we go. Because this is the negative Y direction. Okay, great. We extruded this thing. And now we have the Bale trailer main frame that should be the correct length. If that is not correct, I think it should be. But if it's not correct, I can fix that later. But let's work with the assumption that this is actually the correct size. Create this. I'm going to go, let's go dissolve vertices. Oh, don't want to do that. See? Unz. Unz. Control Z. Let's dissolve this edge. I'm just going to get rid of any extra edges that we don't need. Select this edge, dissolve edge. Sweet. All right, so this thing isn't quite centered anymore. And I would really like it to be centered. What can we do about this? Well, here's a little trick. I can select this object, right-click it, and I can go... I can set the every object has an origin. First off, let's just cover the basics. Every object has an origin. The origin is usually denoted by a small orange circle. If you select this object, we can change the point of that origin, the point of that small orange circle, by right-clicking and setting origin to center of mass of the volume. So it calculates the volume of the object and will set the origin of the object at the very center. Since this is such a simple shape, this is a pretty surefire way to make sure that it is centered. Okay, what can we do now? If I want to put this object on the origin to make sure it's perfectly centered, I'm going to right-click. Remember, we are working around the 3D cursor. So I'm going to right-click and I'm going to snap the cursor to the world origin. Boom. Our cursor is at the very center of the world. I can click this object, right-click, and I'm going to snap selection to cursor. Look at that. We just put our object at the center of the world by moving our cursor to the center of the world and then moving the object to the cursor. Nice trick. Sometimes useful. GZ. We're going to move it up a little bit. There we go. That's our Bale trailer frame. Boom. We are well on our way now. How long has it been? 26 minutes to make that? A little bit slower, but I'm kind of showing my methods. All right. What do we want to do next? Let's do the end caps. I don't know if you can totally see in that picture up there, but there are two rectangular pieces of metal that are about 1/2 inch thick, welded to each end to cover the tube up and to provide a place to mount the hitch. So let's make that. What I'm going to do is, here's something I could do. I could do it. Now, here's the thing. There are always multiple ways to do things, right? The way I'm going to do it is just the way that makes sense to me personally. And you don't have to do it this way. And there are probably better ways to do it. But this is the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to come to this end. Each end needs a cap, and they'll be the same. And I'll make it once, and I'll duplicate it, but this will be the way we do it. So I'll come to the end here. I'm going to tab. So another important thing about Blender is this in the top left. I'm using Blender 2.92. This goes for 2.8 plus. I highly recommend moving up to the new versions for reasons we might see later. But I'm going to go to Vertex Select, and that'll let us select the vertexes down here. So I'm going to box grab these 4 vertexes. Fantastic. We have them selected. And then I'm going to snap my cursor to the selected. Remember, we're working around the cursor, and snapping the cursor to places lets you control what you're doing where. So our cursor is now at the very center of those 4 vertexes, which is where, coincidentally, we also want our end caps to be, right? So I'm going to do another amazing command. I'm going to press Shift and A at the same time. This is the add command, and this is how we get more objects into the Blender space. So I'm going to add a mesh, and I'm going to add a cube. We've added a cube to the end of the our little Bale spear now, our little Bale trailer, which is nice. So we're going to make this into the 1/2 inch by, I believe it's 1 inch thicker than the frame on each side, and it's a 1/2 inch thick. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a 5 inch by 9 inch by 1/2 inch thick rectangle. So I'm going to go into I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to Alt Z so I can see through the object and I can see what I'm working with. And this is the real advantage of X-ray mode, right? Is being able to see through your cube. So I'm going to, actually, let's do this a new way. I'm going to blow your minds. I'm going to delete those vertexes and I'm going to start from a plane instead. Reasons for this will become obvious later, but let's do it this way. So let's grab this. I'm going to tab into object mode, edit mode. I'm going to come here and then I'm going to move. Oh, don't want to do that. Hold on. Need to go in X-ray mode. And I'm going to GY to move it along the Y-axis until it's perfectly lined up with the end there. There we are. We're perfectly lined up with the end of the frame now, which is nice. Okay. So, what is our current length here? Let's go tab, measure from here to here. We're 24 inches across. Guess what? We only need to be 5 inches across. For 24 and we need to go to 5, we can scale by this much. Let's select all these. If you hold shift, you can select multiple things. If you hold control, you deselect them. So let's grab this, shift, grab this, shift, grab this, and then let's snap our cursor to the selected so that we're working around our cursor, we're working on the center of the object. It's not going to scale funny. Let's SX Control V. There we go. We are now 5 inches wide, which is absolutely fantastic. Perfect. All right. Now, how tall do we need to be? Like I said before, we need to be 9 inches tall. So, what are we going to do? We're going to come back here. It should be a square, so we're 24 inches again. This time, we need to be 9 inches tall. So we're going to scale by 0.375 because 9 is 37.5% of 24. So I'm going to scale Z, Control V. There we go. We now have our end plate that is 9 inches tall and 5 inches wide. Very nice. Now, I said it needed to be a 1/2 inch thick, right? So can you guess what we're going to do next? That's right. We're going to add some thickness by extruding. I'm going to press, with these vertices selected, only those. I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to press Y to extrude in the Y direction. And then I'm going to extrude by 0.5. Oh, remember, negative 0.5. There we go. Because we have to move in this direction, which is the negative Y direction. Look at that. We have our end cap all made. Isn't that just hunky-dory? All right, but we need the same end cap for the other end of the box, right? The other end of the frame. So we're going to select. Oh, remember, we need to go back to select mode because measure mode will do nothing for you. So this is a separate object. It's cube 0.001. We're going to take it, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to select this, and at the same time as we do that, we're going to hold shift and select this. I'm going to tab into object mode, and I'm going to select, I'm going to press C. That tool was pressing C. C is an amazing selection tool. If you hold your left mouse button and drag over anything, it will select those. If you hold your middle mouse button and drag over them, it will deselect them. I just want this shape. So what I'm going to do, I could have done this a different way, but I'm going to stick with it now because you might be following along or you might be learning. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this. Oh no, here's what we're going to do. Okay, we have those vertices selected, right? We're going to snap cursor to selected. Nope, we're going to, oh, hold on. You know what? I've decided we're going to do this a different way, a much simpler way. We're going to select this, and we're going to move our cursor to this corner because we know it's perfectly lined up with that. So we're going to Shift D and then Y. Shift D is duplicate, and remember, Y is the axis. So we're going to duplicate along the Y axis right to there. And that puts it on the other end. But wait, you need to remember something. We selected the inside of this corner, right? So it moved it by reference point. We moved it so that the inside corner was still on the right side of the object. That's not great. What are we going to do? Here's what we can do. We're going to, once again, we're going to take our cursor, we're going to move it to the corner of this box. And then, with these vertices selected, remember this part, I'm going to right click and I'm going to mirror along the X local, along the Y local. That's the local where the 3D cursor is. And that's really nice. We mirrored it along the Y local, and we mirrored it along that, and now look at that. It's perfectly on the end. So now we have our frame with our 5 by 9 by ½ inch end caps. That is 4 inches by 8 inches thick. We are well on our way to a bale trailer now. Okay, so we've got that done. That's very nice. What else does this bale trailer need? Well, it probably needs some bale tines, right? Yeah, it probably needs those little things that stick out the side that hold the bales. That'd be really, really handy, wouldn't it? So, let's do that. Let's do this. I took some measurements, believe it or not, and I measured that those bale trailer cubes sitting on the sides are 3 inches by 3 inch squares. They have a little bit of a bevel on the edges. They're 3 inches by 3 inches. So what are we going to do? We're going to snap. We're going to put our cursor at the world origin, just so we're always working around the correct thing. And we're going to go Shift A, and we're going to add a mesh, and we're going to add a cube. Or a plane. I clicked plane. Let's not do that. I thought I clicked cube. Mesh, cube. There we go. Now, when you do that, you can notice there's a little thing down here, add cube. We're going to click that. Look at that. We're making a 24-inch cube. Guess what? We only need a 3-inch cube. So let's go to this. Let's 3 inches and click OK. And look at that. We have an adorable little 3-inch by 3-inch cube. Isn't that just the cubest little thing you've ever seen? Yes, excuse my puns. We're going to GX. We're going to do that. And then we probably want to move this object to the center of this frame, because I believe they were smart and they mounted these at the center of the frame. How can we ensure that these little spikes coming out the sides are going to be at the center of the frame? I'm going to use origins and the 3D cursor again. That is going to be my trick to accomplishing this. All right, so we're going to select this object. We're going to right click. We're going to snap the cursor to selected. That puts it, remember, we made the origin of this object at the very center of that rectangle. And then we're going to collect this cube, and we're going to snap selection to cursor. Boom. We have the cube is now at the very center of our rectangle. Wonderful. Let's go G, Y, and we're going to slide it down here because it's near the end. Now, I'm going to say it again. I took a measurement. I wanted to see, well, actually, no, I didn't take a measurement for this, so we're going to kind of wing it a little bit. Yeah, believe it or not, we're actually going to, like, wing this one a little bit. And we can adjust these later, obviously. But I know this is kind of near the end, and I'm looking, and it's maybe, like, 4 or 6 inches away from the end of here. And I believe this is the front, and this is the back, hopefully. Oh gosh, I might have to change that later, but it's fine. We can always rotate it. So let's work with the assumption that this is the back of the object. And let's pick a side right now. We're going to work on this side right here. Okay. So first off, let's make sure we can actually see it by pressing G, X, and we'll slide it out a little bit. And we want it to kind of we want it to kind of be inside it a little bit, but let's do this first. Let's come here. Let's move our origin to this, and then let's use the move tool. You can press this to move, and then let's move that to match up with the edge of this box, just so we know exactly what we're kind of dealing with here. How wonderful. We've got this. Okay. But they're at a 45-degree angle, right? They're diamonds, not squares, because they're rotated 45 degrees. How can we do that? It's super simple. We're going to put our cursor to the selected. We're going to rotate around the x-axis 45. Boom. My goodness, it's so easy. Okay. So now that we've got that done, we need to add some length, right? How can we add some length? Didn't I already tell you about the extrude option? You goofball. Let's do this. To the frame from the end, is 58 inches. So what we can do is we're going to ruin this by Alt-Z, box select, delete those vertices. And then let's do this again. Let's select these 4 vertices. And then we're going to press E to extrude. We're going to press X. And then we're going to press 58. Oh, negative 58. Very important to remember your positive and negative axes. There we go. Look at that. Now we have that object about where we want it. And this is a separate object. So actually, I'm going to GY, and I'm going to move it back a little bit because I think it's pretty close to the back there in real life. Absolutely amazing. Okay. In fact, it might not even be quite centered on the frame in real life. In fact, it might actually be a little lower so that the tip is closer to the bottom there. We can always play with that later. Again, everything here is movable, but interesting to note. Okay, so we've got our little Bale holder cube. Isn't that just wonderful? We're going to need a lot of these, but first we're going to make it in its entirety. To do that, we need to make the flanges that come off of each end. You might be able to see that in the picture. On the left and on the right side of the object, we have a couple flanges. I don't know what to call them, but they're essentially planes that come off of here and they come off of here. I'll say it again. I took some measurements, and I know that at the base of the frame, where they're located right here, they are 4 inches long. And they come along the frame, and they terminate at about 1 inch tall right here. So we can go ahead and add those now. I think this is actually interesting because we're kind of approaching the less obvious areas. We're gonna have to start getting a little bit creative with how we do this now. It's gonna be a little interesting. Let me think about this for a second because there are multiple ways to go about this. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know, but I only think like 1 person is watching, so hopefully this is a video that will be enjoyed by people later, much less than it is live. Okay. Let's try this method of doing this. Let's put our origin right here at the corner, and then let's add a cube. RX45. Look at that. Okay. And then, well, before we do that, let's get it to the right dimensions. Let's scale it down. I don't know if I have an exact measurement for this, but it was kind of maybe that thickness, maybe a little bit thicker. It wasn't super thick. So it'd be interesting to see. Trying to look at my reference pictures to see if I have anything that would suggest more exactly how thick it should be. Let's see. Oh, I do have another picture that shows it is maybe near the center bottom. Okay. Relative to the frame, it's about that thick and maybe a little thicker. Okay. Let's go with that. I think that's about the thickest I would want it. All right, so now let's RX45, -45. Sure. And then we've got that kind of there. That's about right. We want it to this bottom edge to be. What if I do this? No, there's nothing. Okay. Here's what we can do. Since this is a 45-degree angle, I know movement in one direction will be correlated with the same movement in the other direction within the same plane, and that will make it move parallel. So if I GY like this, about 1.15, I can go GZ negative 1.15, and I'll know I'll have moved precisely down that plane. We can GZ about, I can actually, here's what I can do. I can move my cursor to here, and then I can go GZ, and then I can line it up there. And then I can move my cursor to this corner, I can press GY, and I can line it up there. Look at that. And then I can move my cursor to this edge here. Might have to see through to do that. And then GX to move it there. There we go. Look at that. We have that plate, except that that plate is actually flat with the edge, isn't it? It's not like that. So I can go here. I can go GY, and I can go here, and I can go GZ. There we go. That's pretty much exactly how we wanted it. Selection mode, select away. There we go. We've got that plate there, and it's got two of these on either side, and we can mirror that later. But for now, we've got the plate there. I wanted this to be how many inches? I think it defaulted to 3, because last time I had it at 3. So that needs to be an inch longer. Let's select the box. Let's come here. If you're just joining the stream, welcome. We just started making this Bale trailer. I went over the most basic parts of making the frame, making the end caps, making the Bale holder rods out here, and now we're making the little flanges that come out the side. Let's extrude. I think it'll extrude straight by default. Let's extrude it 1 inch. And now we have the 4-inch flanges that we saw in real life. So that's very nice. Okay, now we know that this comes up at an angle and it terminates at about 1 inch. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take... How can we do this? Let's see. Let's go to tab, edit mode. Alt-Z to see through the object. We'll select this corner, this corner, this corner, and we'll dissolve those edges. Hopefully that doesn't mess anything up. Nope, we'll dissolve this edge just to make sure we are using as little poly as possible and everything's clean and efficient. Anything that's a plane is a plane, and we're good. Let's go to select vertices, select those, and all right. So we've got those, and I know that this comes out for a bit, and then it terminates at about 1 inch. So we want this thickness to be 1 inch thick, but we still want this edge here to be up against the edge of the frame. So we need to move these vertices. We need to move them up until this is about 1 inch. Here's what I'm going to do. Just because all of our axes are square, I'm going to put my cursor here. I'm going to go into Alt-Z. I'm going to select all of these, use C, circle select, and then I'm going to RX 45. Okay, now that we're flat, it's a lot easier to work with this. So I know that this, by using our measure tool, is from here to here. It's 4 inches. Okay, but we want this to be 1 inch, right? And we want this to be up against the edge there. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click away to select that. I'm going to press this, and then the green is our y-axis, remember. So I know that this is 4 inches, so I'll press G, Y, and then I will press 3. -3. To make that 1 inch in length there. Now, I can simply go into X-ray mode. I can select all of these. I can move my 3D cursor, because remember, we are moving around our 3D cursor right here. And then I'm going to RX -45. Now we have this object that is 4 inches, 1 inch. The only thing we need to do now is we need to stretch this across the length of the frame so that it matches the length of that flange there. I'm hoping I took a measurement of how far this flange needs to go in real life. I may not have, which would actually be a big oopsie daisy. Again, that's something I can fix later. I think that's something I wish I would have measured. But looking at it, I'm guessing it's about 40% across. So what we can do is we can come here, we can tab into edit mode. We don't even need to see through the object. Let's select these 4 vertices at the edge. Let's go to Z to see it from the top. And then we're going to press GX and remove specifically in the X direction. And I'm going to stretch it out to about maybe, well, if we can press escape to get away from that, GX, and it probably comes to about here in real life. That looks about right. That looks, well, that's even a little bit too small. Let's go even farther. I can press tab to go into edit mode, GX, those same vertices will be selected. And yeah, that looks about right. That looks about right. Okay, I'm liking how this is turning out. Welcome to the stream if you're just tuning in. We're just making this Bale trailer. We've gone over the very basics of the frame, and now we're making a little bit of the more complex stuff. So we've made our flange. Obviously, each edge has 2 flanges. So how can we copy this flange to this edge? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I think this is going to work. I'm going to go with this object, and I'm going to snap my cursor to the selected object. Remember, this object's origin is this orange point right here. So now that I've got my 3D cursor in the center between where I want these 2 objects to be, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select this object. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate it and press Enter immediately. I've got 2 of the exact same object in place now because I duplicated it and I just pressed Enter immediately and it showed up in the same place. Now I'm going to take the duplicated object, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to mirror along the Y local. Now obviously, now that didn't work. See, that wasn't too smart. Let's try mirroring along the X local. Nope, that's not going to work. What if I mirror along the Z local? Nope, that's not going to work. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more complicated than I imagined, but that's fine. What if we mirrored along the Y global? There we go. Look at that. I just had to mirror along the Y global instead of the Y local, and now I know I have 2 of these same flanges in the exact same place. Isn't that just handy dandy? Okay, so I've got one of the flanges for the Bale trailer made. That's really nice. There are a bunch of these, and in my measurements, I noted that these flanges and these Bale holders are exactly 41 inches apart from one another. So I'm going to, here's another trick. Actually, I'm going to teach about joining objects now. So we've got our frame, and we made this with 3 separate cubes, right? We have this end cap, this piece, and this end cap here. I want this to be one solid thing because I'm never going to need to do anything with these end caps. So I'm going to press this, shift press, shift click, hold shift and click. That selects multiple things at once. They're all one object. Actually, I'm going to select U, and then hold shift click U, and then hold shift click U, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to join. Now it's all one object. And the reason I selected the center frame piece last was because I wanted them to be part of this, not this object be part of that. And that made sure that they kept the same origin, which is just super, super useful. Okay. So I'm going to do that again here because I want these all to be one object, right? So I'm going to come here, I'm going to select U, and I'm going to select U, hold shift, and then I'm going to select U, hold shift, and then I'm going to right click join. And it kept the same origin as this piece and made it all one object because it doesn't need to be separate objects. I might do something about separate objects later, but I think that's just fine the way it is for now. Okay, so I took measurements and noted that these are exactly 37 inches apart from each other. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this. I'm going to press Shift D, and then I'm going to press Y. I duplicated it, and I'm going to duplicate it along the Y-axis. And it's moving in the negative direction. See that up there? So I'm going to type, just go straight to the keyboard, just type negative 37. And then press Enter. And then look at that. I've got 2 at the exact same time that are 37 inches apart, just like in real life. And that will hold probably a 48-inch round bale. We're getting some of the stuff done at a good pace. This is good. Okay. What is next to do? I think next, let's see. what could we work on next? We could make the rest of these. Oh, we could make the rest of these little bale holders, or we could work on the wheel assembly. And the wheel assembly is going to be a little complicated. There were quite a few measurements on my phone I have here that I may mix up. I may not mix up. Hopefully not. But yeah, we will see how this goes here. So, if you're watching, I hope you're enjoying. We're just doing some modding, and I'm going very slowly and exactly through all of the steps I'm doing and the things I'm doing. And if in case you're curious, these are going to be mirrored on the other side. So we're just going to make one side, copy it over to the other, and we're going to call it good. So that's nice. Let's work. Yes, fine. Let's might end the stream in about a half an hour here, but while I'm here, let's keep going. Let's keep working. Let's make the wheel assembly on the bottom. Okay, so that wheel assembly there, that's made of a few different pieces, which could certainly be interesting to make. But let's keep it going. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to snap my cursor to the world origin. I'm going to press Shift A, and I'm going to add a cube. So many cubes. But this is important. Let me see if I can find out. There is a bottom piece to this wheel assembly. I think it is a 3x3 inch square, just like the other things. I'm going to go see if I can find a measurement about it. Yes, I believe that is a 3x3 inch square again. So it defaulted to 3 inches there. That's fantastic. Let us press enter on that. Okie dokie. Just checking my pictures, making sure everything's okay. I'm pretty sure it's important that we get this particular measurement right, because this is kind of something, it's not that bad, but I'd just like to make sure it's right. Let's work off of 3 inches for now. So there we go. Okay, so we've got this 3 inches. Let's take this and let's move our origin to one of the corners, and then let's snap it upwards until we match the bottom here. So we know we're perfectly against the bottom of the frame. Just like this thing is, I believe it's just welded to the bottom of the frame. It's right up against there. I think I actually took a picture. I think I was smart and I took a picture of the inside of the frame. It had a wasp nest in it, actually. I should show that picture, but it just had a wasp nest inside it. It's kind of crazy. No, I don't know if I have that. I don't think that's the right thing. But yeah, let's just assume for now that that was the bottom of the frame there. I did take a picture of, hold up, I may have a picture of this, but let's just assume that's there for now. We're gonna GY, we're gonna move it over a little bit, and now we've got this cube. And we know that this cube will extend over here, and it'll be the foundation for our wheel. So the length of this wheel assembly is, I believe it is 46 inches. But that is not including the let's see, 2 3/4, 9 3/4. That is about 7 inches. So it is, let's see, it's about 48 inches minus 7 inches, 46 inches minus 47, which would mean we need to, let's move it over. Let's just make sure we're all squared up here. We'll go here, move it here, and then we are going to go to tab, edit mode, and we're going to select these, the circle select, and they're going to extrude X negative 39. Okay. That's about where that bottom bar of the frame for the baler, not the baler, the wheels come out. Okay, so we've got that square piece done. About right. We have we have 3 more pieces that actually come out and support it. We have 2 2-inch by 2-inch square pieces, I believe. And then we also have, what is that up there? That is an interesting, a wide flat piece that kind of comes out and stands against it. That is about, what is that? Is that 3 1/4 inches thick? That's an interesting piece. That's 3 inches by 2 inches, I believe. And that's 3 inches by 3 inches. Okay. So we have a flat rectangular piece that comes out. That's 3 inches by 2 inches. It's the same width, but not the same thickness. And that comes from near the top. So I'm going to select this object. And I'm going to Shift D and press Z to move it up here. It comes from about the top of the Bale trailer. I'll press Tab to go into edit mode. Don't press space. If you get space, just come down here and close that. Alt Z, select these 4 vertices and delete them. That's lined up there. That's very nice. Let's see, is that wheel really not quite? Just want to make sure. I don't know if I have quite the right measurement, but yeah, no, that's not very far out at all, is it? Okay, so we know this is a 3 inch by 3 inch cube. If I want this to be smaller, I can press Y to get that frame. I can select these 2. I can press the G, Z, and I can move them up 1 inch. There, now we have the 3 inch by 2 inch supporting piece that comes out. It needs to come angled down though because it meets this piece down here. So I'll press Y, Alt Z to see through. I'll select these, and then I'll press G and Z, and we'll move them down until, what does it kind of do? It kind of just comes and sits on top, sort of like that. So I'm gonna move my cursor to here, move this down, and we'll pop it up there. There we go. That's sort of the correct shape of how that supporting piece goes there. Okay. What now? Let's see.
Are you okay?
Hello?
Hello?
Hey! Thanks for joining me in the stream. You're the first person to show up.
So what?
I'm modding live.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you were just here talking to you.
How long have you been here? Have you been listening to me talk to myself this whole time?
Yes, because I didn't know if you were making a video or something.
Well, I kind of am, but
it makes sense though.
I'm very carefully going through. I'm making a Bale trailer. So.
Oh, that one you were talking about.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm very carefully going through the steps on how I am making it. So.
Gotcha. Okay. I joined it. I was like, oh, he's in his channel. Oh, he's talking to himself. Oh, okay.
You thought surely there has to be a reason. He's not just insane, right? He's not just nuts. Has he lost it? Okay. I took a bunch of pictures and references, so I'm just looking at them and I'm trying to figure things out. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
Just trucking.
Trucking?
About off work.
Nice.
Trucking. Yeah. Not fucking.
Nope. I'm just trucking. Okie dokie. So I gotta add a couple plates to the end of this piece here. And it looks like, actually, yeah, let's add the plates before we add the 2 supporting arms. This is just a little 6 bale trailer I'm making. It's nothing special, but it's super simple and good for a tutorial. So I'm going from Blender Cube to Bale trailer.
Oh, I'll watch that.
Heck yeah. I'm hoping a lot of people will. let's see. How thick is that plate? I'll be doing a lot of talking to myself, but just bear with me.
It's good.
That plate is approximately, this is just some little custom welded together Bale trailer by a company called Maclander. It's just like a small Iowa trailer company. I don't even know if they're popular or what now, but I can't find a single picture of this thing online. I've only ever seen it in real life. So,
Really?
yep, I stole a tape measure from somewhere, and it's my father-in-law's, so I took a bunch of measurements, and yeah. All right, so that's about 9 inches.
Jeez. Sorry. About rolled a hay container.
Please don't do that. I don't want a disaster on the stream. It'd be terrible.
The content, man.
Clickbait. Are you willing to die for my channel? Let's go Shift A. Let's add a cube. And we're going to move this cube. Let's go G, X, move it over here. And we'll move to line up there. Okay. So there's a plate that goes from this arm to this arm here, and I want it to be lined up against that edge. So I'm going to go to this view, Alt-Z, tab to edit mode, and I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to move it to line up with that. Very nice. That plate is pretty thin. I didn't take a measurement because it's only about as thick as the weld. The weld is literally about as thick as the plate, so we'll make it pretty thin here. See-through. Select these, G, Y, I think, yeah, and we'll make just a nice little thin plate there. And the plate kind of follows the angle of this upper arm piece here. So it'll look like this. GZ. Drag it up here a little bit, and we'll be right. How close is it? It's only about 9 inches up, right? Hold on, let me measure this, because this goes to about, I think, yeah. So if I take this, come down here, and we move this down to here, and then, yeah, you should definitely join a stream another time too, because I was hoping people would be in here and asking questions while I was doing this.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not.
When I get home, I'll definitely.
Sure.
I can see what I can see what you're doing.
Oh yeah, well the video will be up on YouTube too. I've been streaming for about an hour, so.
Oh, okay.
There's plenty of content. Plenty of content. Okay, so that goes up about 9 inches. Is that right? Is that this is a sanity check for if I'm. No, that's about 11 inches. But where did I measure that from in real life is the question. Yeah, I may not have some artistic interpretation here too. Oh, it doesn't go quite to the bottom of that. It's about an inch off the. It's about an inch off the bottom there, isn't it? Okay. Oh, accidentally went to the.
Well, I'll hop back in when I get home.
All right. Sounds good.
If you're still cooking along.
Right.
So. Alrighty. See you later.
Sounds good. See ya. Crazy kid. All right. Just kidding, Cattle. I love you. Let me see. I'm streaming if you wanna. Let me message him. Hop. Alright, Discord. We'll see if Tyson Deniz wants to join and ask some questions while I'm streaming. But yeah, so we moved that up about an inch, and then we can take this and we can move you down a little bit. Yeah, it's not quite there. Actually, that doesn't even go quite down that far. That's probably actually just about a ½ inch away from the bottom. Interesting how I got that measurement. I'm not quite sure where I got that from. That might actually be the end of the piece and not the beginning of the piece, which would make sense actually, because it's not that long and it tapers off a little bit, so that would decrease its height. Let's see. Another boring part of the stream while I stare at pictures on my phone that you can't see. Okie dokie. Let's see. Where's this freaking measurement? That's the back piece. Yeah, I guess that's down a little bit. Interesting how that's... So this has got to come down. GZ. This follows the taper of that a little bit. It's not quite that accurate, but that's about what it is. Is that about 9 inches-ish? Might be something off here, but it's pretty close. 9.7. Yeah, that's kind of close. This down here might actually be a 3x3 square. It might be a 3x2.5 square or something like that. But that's pretty good. Let's see. Okay. I don't know how thick that is. I don't know how long that is. How long this piece comes off the edge. But I can look at some pictures and guesstimate. Probably about 6 inches or so, perhaps. Oh, remember, you got to be out of measurement mode. We'll take the box select tool. We'll select these. First off, let's check how long this is right now. Just out of curiosity. So that's about 3 inches. So yeah, it's maybe 5 inches then. If you hold Z, you can see different views. So that's going to be your rendered view. This is going to be your wireframe view. This is going to be your material preview once you have materials applied, and then this will be your solid, which is what your default is work with. In case you're ever curious what's popping up there. Okay, so let's go here. G, X, move over a little bit. About 2 inches. Maybe more. Yeah, that's okay. I see. That's probably not quite square, is it? No, maybe it is. Okay, let's move it up about 2 point. How long is that? That's probably about 2.5. Okay. And then GZ. Yep, that's about right. Okay. So that's one of the plates that's welded onto the edge here that holds it on. Alrighty. Cool. Just out of curiosity, how tall is this? About 9.3. Okay, we're pretty close to real life scale right there. Pretty good for not actually having a measurement of it. Oh, remember, you gotta be out of measure mode. I get stuck in that all the time. Alright, hopefully Tyson Deniz will be in here shortly. That'd be sick. I'll probably stream for another half an hour then. Alright. We'll go here. So first off, let's press snap cursor selected. And then we'll select this. And we'll mirror it along the Y local. See, that worked, but we have to Shift D, duplicate it, enter, mirror along the Y local. There we go. Sweet. All of our planes are in place, and those are the plates that are welded to the ends that give it some structure support. And they might even be a little bit thicker. Yeah, they might even be a little bit thicker than that in real life. Let me see. It's okay. We can adjust the thickness afterwards. That's not a big deal. Yeah, I might make them a little thicker than they are right now. So let's click U. And then if we come here, Alt-Z to see through the object to select all the vertices. We'll select all the vertices on the left here. And then we'll GY, move them 0.0325. Okay. That's pretty good. And then we'll do the same thing here. We know they'll be the exact same because I remembered how much I moved them. We'll go here, we'll tab, see-through. Select all the left vertices. G, Y, 0.03, oh, negative 0.035. All right. Sweet, those plates look pretty good. Any questions, class? No? Because you're probably watching this as a video afterwards. Alrighty then. Let's see. Okie dokie. That's looking pretty good, actually. I'm quite happy with that. What else do we need to do? Ah, yes, there are 2 more supporting arms that come off to the sides. But firstly, let's add that plate. There's another plate that is welded to the ends of these 2 arms to hold them together. Then we can add the arms that go from the frame to the plate, the frame to the plate. And that'll be just swell. So let's do that. We could just work off of one of these plates we already have here. So let's come here, Shift D, X. I'll move you across here a little bit. That'll be just fine, except you're way closer to the bottom here than you were there. So we'll GZ. And these aren't, I'm not going to line these up perfectly to the bottoms because they aren't perfectly lined up to the bottoms in real life. They're just placed there and welded, so that's what we're going to do. And then, this is obviously too tall. And in real life, we can GZ and we can move this down to, it doesn't have quite even that steep of an angle. We can go here, about ish. And go here, and then GX, move it across here a little bit. Almost, it goes out, yeah, it goes out pretty far, and it almost goes to the center of that bar up there. So, does that look right? Let me back up a little bit and check that reference picture. Yeah, that looks pretty close. Might even be a little bit too long. So we can fix that. Alt Z, G, X, move it over here. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Look at that. Starting to look like something. Looking way less like a Blender cube than it was before. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to take this plate, and we still have our cursor at the center of this object. So Shift D, enter. Oh, let's undo that. Shift D, enter, and then mirror along the Y local. There we go. We've copied that plate, and now there's another set at the end there. That's going to be responsible for holding our arms that are holding onto our wheels. So that's just delicious. Well, hold on. I may have figured out why this doesn't look quite right, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't look quite right because I don't know if that bar is on the bottom is actually flat. Is that flat, or does it come up to the... It's hard to tell. I always thought it was flat, but now that I'm looking at it, the bar, this bottom bar may be flat here, but it actually comes up at an angle, which is really interesting. That would explain why things look a little thick, and why the angles look a little aggressive. We can change that though. Look at this. We're gonna do some awesome changes here. We can do here, 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 here. And we're going to join all of this to that object. And now that's all one piece, and now it'll be much easier to edit. Go into edit mode and start tinkering with. If we do this, let's Alt Z to see through. G, Z, move it up a little bit. I actually think that's closer to how it is in real life. I actually think it tapers up. So yes, we kept all our thicknesses, we kept everything correct, but I think that tapers upwards in real life to a cylindrical wheel holder and wheel bearing setup. So that's interesting. Okay, got that wheel piece there. We want to adjust this bottom plate. I noticed that because I noticed this bottom plate was actually angled upwards a little bit. Can select these, GZ, up a little bit. It's just angled upwards ever so slightly to match that. You can go into wireframe mode to see that a little better if the lighting isn't helping us so much. And then I believe this piece is angled down too. Yeah. So here's what we need to do. GZ. Just down a little bit. It almost comes to the middle point, but it is still tilted upwards ever so slightly. So I think we'll take this and we'll go G, X, and we'll come maybe out here. And then we can select this one. And then we can go GZ. And go here and there. That looks a little better. It looks pretty nice. And because all these points were lined up here, we can angle them symmetrically. So that's nifty. So yeah, that's actually looking pretty good. I don't know if that's quite the correct. It's interesting because it comes out that that is about. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Okay. So now we can add the two supporting braces that come from the center of this plate and then go, just to give it some forwards and backwards stability, which is certainly a smart design. Let's see. We can come here again, snap, cursor selected. Is this origin still there? Okay, that's good. But I kind of want to add it here. So let's go, let's snap our cursor to the selected, and then let's add a cube. Okay. Did I take a measurement on how far away from the wheel measuring device those are? I don't think I did, and I think, oh, let's do a test here. I know this plate is 4.5 inches thick in real life. Let's see. This is probably too thick by my guesstimates. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, it's 5.4. It should be 4.5. What could be causing that? It could be a multitude of factors. One of which I believe is that I think let's see. That's near the end. Okay, yeah, first off, Let's Alt-Z to see through so we can select it symmetrically on the other side too. That is actually closer to like there on the frame. And then UGZ up to about here. See, sometimes when you think you're measuring one angle, but you're really not. Sometimes that actually does help to measure an isometric. And even then, you have to be careful. So yeah, that's actually about the right height. So that's really good. Does that bottom one really close? Oh yeah, that bottom one is riding the frame there. So that's actually correct. And that's actually how it's installed in real life. So very good. I'm glad we got that sorted out. Let's see. Okie dokie. So yeah, that's looking good. Let's add those two original frames like I was going to do. We'll select this cube. And you know, it's really nice to have measurements when you're modding, but there also comes a point where it becomes like in a visual guessing game of skill, of kind of figuring out what looks nice and what doesn't look nice. Let me actually delete this cube. Let's add another one. And this one needs to be a 2" by 2" cube. So I'll add this 2" by 2" cube here. And yeah, that'll be sweet. Okay. So let's see, how far away does this thing? It's approximately, if we GY, it's kind of about that far away, and it's kind of about this far up. It's pretty close. And then we can go, we can put this here, and then we can move it that corner. So we put it right on the face. That's really nice. Okay. So this is interesting because this is flat and then it comes kind of at an angle. So what we need to do, I think what we can do is we can do this. Oh shoot, actually I want my snap turned off for this. Actually, no, I don't want my snap turned on for this because we can actually use that to our advantage. We can go here, we can snap it there. So that's kind of where we want that. Let's GZ, because I think this comes to about, yeah, this comes to like kind of the right side of the plate and kind of the center. So let's go GX, and we'll move it to about there-ish. Okay, so that's kind of how that comes out. Obviously, we need to make it not flat like that. This here is actually perfect. This needs to be worked on. So what we can do, or what we should do, what we shall do, come here, select this, and then we'll move it this way and line it up with that one. Okay, and then what else can we do? I think we can, let's try this. Let's deselect that. Circle tool, pressing C, middle mouse to press tab obviously first. Alt Z to see through, grab these two. Oh. Here's what we're gonna do. E, shoot. Control Z. Okay, we're just going to grab this and we're just going to drag it through. That's what I think we're going to do. Because we want this that sort of intersects with this plane here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take, say what we're going to do a lot, but I mean, here's what we're going to do. You know, we're going to do what we're going to do. We're going to Alt Z, select these, and then if you press G and G again, you can move it along. Pro tip, if you press G and G again, you can move a vertice along the line in which it's working. So if you press GG, it'll move along the line in which it currently is, which is super handy. And I'm wondering if there's a way I can move this back that it will line up with this. Now I don't have to make this intersect that plane perfectly, but I'm just trying to get it there, you know? Just trying to make it work. So I'm gonna do this, move this here, and I'm wondering if I GG back here. Here's what we can do. And we're gonna change our snap from a vertex to an edge. And we're going to change it, instead of being to the center of the edge, we're going to be at the closest edge. Now I think if I press GG, oh, it's turned off. I should be able to snap it to this edge. I know I'm trying to get it. I'm not sure how it doesn't know that it's doing that. This is a little bit of a sticky situation here. This is looking really nice. In fact, I probably this over here a little bit more, I think. Yeah, I kind of want this to be solidified before committing to anything major like that, but that's looking pretty good. And I could keep it this way. There definitely wouldn't be any major problems with me keeping it this way, but I don't want to keep it that way. I want it to line up, and I don't want to change the thickness of it by moving the vertices in a way that would change that. So kind of in a tough spot here. Guess I could do this. Let's do this. I can fix this later, but this is better. I can GG, move it along there, and we can keep it within the bounds of the plane so that you don't see it through here, but it also does complete the thing. Okay, that's pretty nice. I think that's about the length away from this wheel holder that is in real life. So I'm gonna select this object, see how the origin is there right in the middle of it all, that orange dot. I'm gonna snap cursor to selected. I'm gonna select this object, and then I'm going to mirror it along the, oh, remember, Shift D, enter, and then I'm going to mirror it along the Y local. Boom, done. That entire wheel assembly that I was so afraid of making before is now completed, which is fantastic. Okay, but we're not entirely done. There is a odd piece here at the end that I do need to make, and we can work on making that now. Let me check this. I'm curious about this again. Is this about 9 inches? Is this about 9? Oh yeah, look at that. We brought it up a little bit, and now we're sitting at about 9 inches. So we're sitting pretty. So this is actually turning out to be scaled quite nicely, which is rather nice. But I think this might be a little too close. Oh no, maybe it's about that. I go back and forth. But it's not super far away. It's not super far away, is it? Okay, and then I think I did take a measurement on how high these are. Which I don't know why I thought That in particular was important, but apparently I thought it was. So, let's see. If you're enjoying the stream, do feel free to subscribe. I'll be doing more modding in the future, and I'll be uploading tutorials and the like. So, hopefully you're into that sort of stuff, because you'll be getting more of it. Let's see. So if I look at it like, if I was standing like right here. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can always change this later too by moving these things around. But the basics are all there, which is important. So, and then I think that's just a little lower than the rest. Yeah. Okay. There's another important piece to add to the bottom of this. There is like a weird cylindrical shape. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but there's a weird cylindrical shape that holds the wheel. Holds the wheel and holds the wheel bearing. Let's see. It starts with a cube, and then we can add a half cylinder on top, sort of, I think. That's probably what we're going to have to do here. Let's see. So that's looking pretty good. Let me actually save this before I lose it all. Let me save this, because we've made really good progress. Let's make a new folder. Let's call it, what's this brand? Forget the name. Maclander. Let's call it Bale trailer.blend, and we'll save as. Good, we have our progress saved because we made a lot of progress. Okay. Let's see. What was I going to do next? I was going to do the wheel bearing assembly, the wheel holder. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? Because I think I was particularly fascinated with this piece for some reason. And I took plenty of measurements.
Hey, man.
Oh, hey, you're here.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
No, you're fine. I'm just modding away.
Oh, hell yeah.
Cattle Ranch was in here earlier for a little bit too. He joined and listened to me talk to myself for about 5 minutes. And then spoke up. He didn't know I was streaming, so he thought I wasn't going insane.
Well, maybe you are.
Well, kind of have to be.
Oh.
Yeah, have you seen the stream?
I'm here now.
All right. I'm partway through this Bale trailer. Blender Cube to Bale trailer, episode 1.
Oh my.
The basics of modeling. I'm about to add this wheel bearing assembly at the end here. It's kind of rectangular with a circular top. That will be interesting to add. I think I'm going to start with a cube, and then I might add a half cylinder on top and join it into one object. That'll be fun. Okay.
I could learn quite a bit about this if I sat down and watched the entire thing.
Probably. I speak slowly and carefully about everything I'm doing.
So. Alright. Just like I suggested.
Exactly. Exactly. And of course, I've got a billion different pictures of tape measurements on my phone that I'm staring at. Let's see. So, how tall is this? That plate's about right. That plate's about right. I know that it's about 8 inches across, 7 inches across, and oh, it's 7.5 inches tall. Okay, so I can work with that. Shift A, mesh, cube, and then GX to move it along the x-axis out here. I want it to sit on the end of this, so I'm going to move the origin here. Oh yeah, I need to change my snap to be a vertex center. Snap there, and then we can go GX, and it should
snap
up here at the top.
Second.
That magnet there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you can snap to increments, vertexes, edges, faces, volumes, edge centers, and edge perpendiculars. I like snapping to the center of vertexes, personally. That's what I prefer to work with.
So that just changed when you grab something that it kind of just sticks to it, or what?
Exactly. It changes where you grab it and it changes where it sticks to. So if I take and I move things around this 3D cursor, come down to your box and I pivot around the 3D cursor. So if I drag this along the cube, you see how it's kind of snapping to the corners of the cube?
Yeah.
That's because if I go into tab, all of the corners of the cube are vertexes.
Oh, okay.
So as I use this, it'll snap to the corners. And then if I snap to a corner and I move it around, move the origin there, and then GX, you can see I can snap to this corner of this face, which is the front of this face. So I know that I'm perfectly flat against this this face here.
Oh, okay.
All right. And I know this thing, how is it? Does it sit against the bottom? Yeah, it's flat against the bottom of the. That's a freaking heavy weld right there. It's got, but let's go here, move this down here, and then we'll move up, and we'll snap to right there. So now we know we're perfectly lined up to that bottom face there. Okay, that's good. We need this to be taller. And we actually need it to taper in a little bit, which is odd, but we can do that. No worries. So we need it to be as tall as this thing too. So we'll come here, we'll select the cube, tab edit mode, go to the select box, select these 4 faces, cursor to one of these corners, and change my view to line up with it, and then G, Z, the up and down direction, and I'll snap it to the top. So now we know that cube is exactly as tall as that object. And then it comes out to the left and the right. So what we can do here is
So you can grab a face like that, and it's similar to extruding, except it doesn't make a new shape.
exactly. And I like doing that to save on polys.
Huh.
So we'll go GY, and I'll drag it out. We'll line it up there. Done. And we'll do the same to the other side.
What did you do there with GY? I didn't see you do it. There's a delay.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a delay. Sorry. Yeah.
Press G to grab, Y direction, and we'll drag it out, and we'll line it up there. Okay. Now we've got that cube there. And how far does this come out? I'm actually just going to come here, press tab, and Alt-Z to see through. Select these vertices. Yeah, you get to hear what I do before you see me do it, don't you?
Yeah, that confused me for a second. I'm like, did you move that like a nanometer? But then I saw it. I'm like, oh right.
I'll delete these outside faces, these outside vertices, and then I'll grab this. And then how far is this? It's like 7 inches or something. Let's press E to extrude. X direction, 7. -7. Not +7. Okay. And then it's come out as far as it needs to, which is good. You got to pay attention to your positives and negatives.
Because it depends on what side of the origin you're on, right?
Exactly. I'm working on this particular side, which happens to be the -X. But it doesn't matter because I'm just going to mirror all this to the other side here. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. So. I didn't realize it was that efficient that you could just.
Oh, yeah. I only got to make half this thing, and then I'll just bloop it over to the other side, and it'll be done.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought.
Okay. Nope.
There's a lot of efficiency here that you don't get with XML.
Like I only made this, and then I mirrored this plane over here, and I mirrored this plane over here, and I made this cube and mirrored it over to this side. I made this plane and mirrored it over to that side. I joined this onto one object. It's a lot of mirroring saves you so much time, and you can actually have objects edited live. If you apply a mirror modifier, you can be editing it, and the other side is going to move around and be edited with it. So, but that's not how I'm going to do this in particular.
No,
okay.
That'd be confusing.
So, let's see. I wish I should put these pictures on my computer so people can see what I'm trying to make as I'm making it, but I have the general picture of the Bale trailer up there. Let me just... So, it kind of... I think it tapers... It's weird. It's a very weird shape, and I don't know if I'd caught how weird it was when I was first.
Can you send me a picture of it in Discord?
Yeah. Let me send a picture.
I assume you're looking at it on your phone, so.
I am. I'm looking down at my phone with all the freaking. I'll send it to Discord. Share in the exclusive Rooster Mods Discord server.
The Roost.
The Roost. And then I'll send it to Mod Talk. There you go. You get a bonus picture of a hand too.
Just wait for it to show up here.
Yep. It's posting. All right, so we need to add a cylindrical shape to the top here. I think Jono joined at one point, and Ghost was in here too, but they're long
I can
gone.
see that. I can see that up there.
Mm-hmm. Did you get that picture?
Yeah, so I'm just pulling it up here side by side with your stream just so I can kind of follow along with what you're about to
Yeah.
do here.
You can see I've done the entire support structure for the...
Yeah, this thing's homemade.
It's definitely just a little mid trailer by that company or whatever.
Yeah, that's wild. That's gonna be a fun shape to create.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. This is definitely like, I think this is probably the hardest part of making this whole trailer, and I'm going to attempt it in a very tired state.
It's like putting the hub on was an afterthought.
Yeah, right? It's like, okay, we got a support structure. Now how do we actually attach a wheel to it? I don't know, just...
Well, it needs to. The idea was that it had to sit solo, is what I meant, right? That was the afterthought. They're like, oh, right, we can't just stick a beam axle in here. This thing has to sit lower so that you can load it with a 3-point hitch.
Yeah.
Spike. Yeah. So when Western Iowa was teaching me, he showed me to do loop cuts and then drag stuff out. So I don't know if that's what you're gonna do here.
That might be what I do. I think I'm a little self-taught, so my methods may be unorthodox.
Yeah.
But,
see, I say loop cut, and I know what it does, but I don't remember even how to get to the panel that does it.
But we're pretty low poly right now. Like, if I go to a wireframe, like, all of this is... Like, that's...
Total poly count down in the... You're looking at...
222 tries so far. We're pretty efficient here, and I've been deleting anything that's not needed either. Like that's why I don't extrude a lot, is because it just adds extra cuts. So
yeah.
I like to move things around first, and then
the wheels are gonna bring this thing up to the 5 digits in poly count though.
Oh no, not 5 digits. I don't know if ModHub will take it. I don't know if consoles can handle it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've got this piece here, and here's what I'm gonna do. Why is that? Do you see how the axle kind of like bends upwards and then goes out? Like it starts, like the entire thing is tilted upwards.
I do.
It's so weird. So,
but it does in real life, kind of. But I think that's more because it's like bowing because of it being used.
That's also possible. Should I just make it? It's pretty close if I just made it straight, but I'm not sure.
No, you can definitely tell in this picture that it's bowing. Like you can tell it's had a rough life, at least on the left side.
Because I don't think they would manufacture it like that, right?
No, I think what where the hub goes, where your wheel hub kind of shaft thing there goes through.
Yeah.
I think that's starting to bend because on the other side it's straight.
It's definitely been used.
You can tell on the other side it's kind of bent the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely it's had a rough life. Oh. Are there 2 corn pickers in the background?
My father-in-law is an Oliver fanatic.
I see one of those. I see an Oliver in the shed.
Oh yeah.
And I can't tell what else is there. And you got an old truck.
Oh, he's got so many Olivers, bro. He's like an Oliver freak. He's got like dozens of piles of collections of Oliver manuals and stuff. It's insane. Set origin.
Oh boy.
Center of mass volume. Snap.
You'll have to remind me when we're done here, but I got a question. It might be definitely something your dad can answer, but I don't want to distract you from the stream here.
No, you're fine. Let's shift A. Let's add a mesh. Let's add a cylinder. Ooh, that's really big. Let's come down here to the bottom left. We've got add cylinder. What's that radius? What do you reckon the radius of that is? I don't know if I actually measured that. I think it's about, I think I may have measured something close to it.
Okay. It's similar to your support bars that are kind of coming off on the angle.
So maybe 2 inches?
Yeah, I'd say 2 inches.
Yeah.
That sounds about standard for an axle shaft. Let me look something up here. I can tell you right now.
Oh, perfect.
I'm
Partner.
gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna get you that. So
Yeah.
a Jeep axle shaft for a Dana 44 is 1.31 inch diameter. So you're figuring something around the area of 1.3 to 1.5
I just
inches,
posted
maybe.
a picture.
Okay, let me see here. Oh, did you measure it?
Yeah, I took a tape measure to this entire thing.
Like,
So it's about, the shroud is 3 inches, so I'm guessing that's actually about maybe 2.5 maybe.
yeah, that actually does look a lot thicker than a Jeep axle shaft by a long shot.
All right, so I'm gonna make the radius of this thing. If it's 3, then I make the radius 1.5. Okay. And then the depth is gonna be about, I don't want 32. Well, I can handle more vertices. 32 vertices is overkill, but it's fine for what this thing is. And then let's see. I want, how long is that? I think it's 7, so let's make the depth 7 inches. Yeah. Okay. Done. So you can customize, when you add a mesh, you can customize facts around it before you like finish it. You don't have to shape it afterwards. So
I see that there.
Yeah. Any YouTube comments? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
It's pretty dead in here, not gonna lie.
I'm the only one watching.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Hopefully
no
this will be more useful afterwards instead of maybe just live, but
that's exactly it. That's somebody liked that I did. One guy liked that I did a modding live stream and screwed everything up, and then fixed it.
let's
Because it kind of gives you a way to troubleshoot, right?
Right. I'm going to press R and then Y and then 90 to rotate it like this. And then to get it on top of here, I'm going to do this view. And then I'm going to press Alt Z to see through, Tab to edit mode. I'm going to go to this very bottom cylinder here. I'm going to go to the very bottom vertice and then press the move. And then I'm going to move it up until it snaps to level with this vertice at the top of the cube here.
Oh, hey, we get through.
Well, now you're both in here.
Oh, hey.
No.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now.
We got the distraction here.
I gotta get on my computer. I just thought I'd jump in.
So actually, we want this to be 2.5 instead of 3. I wasn't thinking correctly, but
I'll be right back.
S. So here's a fun trick. If you want to scale in 2 directions but not 1 direction, right? I want to scale this down in the Y and Z direction, but not the length, the X direction it's currently at, right?
Yeah.
So if you press Shift, and then if you press S to scale, and then you press Shift X, S to scale, and then Shift X, you can see it locks the global X value.
Huh.
So if I scale to 0.8, that'll give me, I think, a radius of 2.5 inches if my math is correct. Let's check that with the measure tool. 2.4? 2.4 is pretty close. I thought it would be 2.5, but maybe I wasn't even right on my radius to begin with. 0.51, 1.52, 2.5. Oh yeah, no, that's right. I counted that off wrong. So we can undo that. Yeah, and then Blender has a few undos. You don't have unlimited undos, warning, but you do have a few undos.
Oh, I thought you did have unlimited.
Nope. You can only go back so far and then it stops.
Now, could you turn that up by making it use more RAM?
I think there might be a setting for that. Let's go to my mod hub scaler just to make sure because I'm tired. So let's see. If it's 3 inches and I want it to be 2.5 inches, I can scale it by 0.833333. So then we go S, Shift X to lock the X, and then Control V, enter. Now we have a radius, I think, of 2.5. Boom. Now we need to make the weird, like, you see that metal cowl that goes over it? You know what I'm talking about if you look at that assembly really closely? It's kind of like a metal plate that actually wraps around this bottom part here.
Yeah, like it like encases everything there.
Yeah, they made some metal plate that encases the whole thing. It's just like it's
Yeah,
pretty
even-
weird, but
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah. This might even be longer.
That's what I thought you were talking about making.
Oh no, I was making that first, and then now we're gonna make this metal plate part. So here's a fun trick for home kids. Not without your parents' permission. Let's go here. Shift A, mesh, cube. Oh, I started watching Letterkenny too because I'm inspired by all you Canadians.
Oh boy.
First episode is pretty good. I don't know if you've ever watched it. It seems like a super Canadian show, but you know, maybe I'm just stereotyping all you Canadians out there.
No, it is pretty Canadian.
But it's unashamedly Canadian, which is why
Yeah.
I love it. It's not afraid of what it is. It knows what it is, and it embraces it. So. Nope. Okay. Let's go here, and then we'll move this along here so that it covers the length of this thing. All right. I might... Here's... okay. There are a couple ways to do this, and as you learn, like, there's multiple ways to do things in Blender. So I'm going to come here to this front part, Alt-Z, so I can see through. I can grab this. Let's G-Z, move this up here. And then I'm going to do a little spin trick. I'm going to move this to the center of this object, and then I'm going to use the spin modifier. I'm going to press N to go to the modifier transforms, and I'm going to spin it along the x-axis, and so then I can do this. Look at this magic.
So how did you learn all this by yourself? Because I couldn't imagine.
I don't know, just tutorials and just pressing random buttons until something worked.
Okay. See, I don't have the patience or the understanding to do something like that, so I need videos like this.
All right, so look at that fancy spin, and then
That is fancy.
the spin tool is absolutely like one of my favorites whenever I need to do like a shape like this. And then we can move this origin here up. Actually, yeah, that origin needs to be a little higher. I may have to redo this. Because theoretically this should work, but in actuality it has to spin around that object, and it has to go 180 degrees, and then oh yeah, we can do this. We just play with this until we get it about right, I think. Oh geez, this might not be the way to do this either. But I thought it might work. Oh, okay, hold up. I know why this isn't working. Do you see why this isn't working? I see why this isn't working.
Not quite.
We have to pull this up here. It doesn't start spinning until... It doesn't spin
Oh.
up the wrong... It has to spin this way, right? So, then we can come here. We can set the origin of this object to the center of volume, and then we can snap our cursor to the selected object, which will now be at the center of volume because that's the origin. And then, because we do everything in relation to the cursor, is this the right thickness? I don't think I can undo this thickness once I do this, but it's not that thick at all. So I might even scale this up a little bit, but this is not, honestly, that thick of a piece. So yeah, that's fine. So, okay, now we can use this spin tool. We can spin it. There we go. Now we can spin it 180 degrees. like that.
There we go.
Auto merge, flip normals, done. And then now we can use the extrude tool. Easy. And now we can pull it down and it'll be perfectly matched to the other side. Except I didn't select the whole thing. I just selected those 2 vertices because I'm an idiot. GZ. And then down. There we go. That's pretty darn close to what it represents, right? Pretty good. All right, and then we do this.
Looks pretty good to me.
GZ.
It does in real life look pointier though, but that's not a huge deal.
I think I see what you mean. Like, well, what
Unless
do
I'm
you
crazy,
mean?
I could be crazy, but it looks like it's more triangular. Like at the top, it's
You're right. It like points inwards, doesn't it? It kind of
Yeah.
folds in. So what we can do to fix that? Let's snap our cursor to selected. We can come here, Alt Z. Oh, we can select first off. Let's select this and this. And then go into edit mode. Go to see through so we can select all of these vertices at the end here. And then we can snap cursor to selected. And then we can scale in the Y direction. And we can make it a little bit pointier at the end. Like that. So it comes in a little bit. Because I see what you're saying, and I think you're right. SY. A little bit there. Or maybe that's just because it's been stretched upwards.
Oh, maybe. Just from wear and tear.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it square.
Yeah.
Just because that seems fine. That's pretty close to how it is. But this is not, this is too low. I don't know why these, I must have misinterpreted. C for circle tool, grab these 2. Oh man. Is there anybody watching? We got 2 viewers, you're one of them. I think
Yeah,
the
the other
one's just
one's
me.
Yeah, it counts you as a viewer.
So nobody's been watching. Amazing. All right. There we go. That's pretty all right. But you see how it's kind of like jagged up here because it's a bunch of polygons. It's not exactly like smooth.
Yeah.
What we can do to fix that. Now, what people that use older Blender will tell you to do is use an edge split. And that just adds unnecessary things. That's just not the way to do it anymore. What we're going to do here is we're going to select these and we're going to mark, we're going to select, okay, we're going to do this by edges, not by, come up to the top left, you can select edges instead of vertices. And we're going to select these edges. And then we're going to go Alt Z. We're going to select these edges. And we're going to select these edges. And then we're going to right click and we're going to mark them as sharp. Which means there'll be sharp transitions in shading. Then we're going to tab, go to faces, all of them. We're going to right click and then we're going to shade smooth. And look at that.
Just waiting for it to catch up here.
Yep.
You are a Blender legend.
No, I'm not that great. I just know some tricks. But we don't need to edge split or do anything dumb like that. We don't even need like normal maps or anything. You can just shade smooth or shade flat, and it'll
If your model isn't even 6-digit poly, you don't need a normal map.
No, exactly. We're at 454 tries here, so we better watch out. We're getting kind of close.
Oh, and you're about to double it.
I know, right? Except for the frame. But yeah, so all right, so that's pretty I'm going to look at that looks kind of short, but it looks kind of right at the same time. Actually, I think that's correct. I need to make this axle come out more, and then
Yeah, and then you're gonna put the wheel bearing assembly on it. And then I'm assuming you're gonna use Jonos tires.
I could use Jonos tires. I was thinking of just using in-game ones too. I don't need to
Oh,
do
that
anything
works.
more behind the axle though, right? I don't need to make the wheel bearing or anything, right? Or do I?
Jonos has the wheel bearing on it.
Okay, do the in-game ones have the wheel bearings on them?
They definitely have the hub face. I would honestly say just grab that and pull it out further where you want the wheel to be.
Yeah.
Because I believe the in-game ones are just the hub face. They don't actually have the wheel bearing on them.
Oh.
And I don't think Jonos does either. But the thing is, you can't normally see behind there, so everybody just runs with the idea of just having the hub face, right?
Right.
If you did want to add the wheel bearing, that would be something that you would do if you made your own wheel.
And I was considering doing that, but I've never made a wheel before, and maybe I could, but we'll see. We'll limit it to this for the time being. Because I have a pretty decent picture of the wheel, actually. Let me send this. Let me send this.
It's a pretty standard looking implement wheel, which is what Jono has modeled up.
Ooh, okay. It actually might be like homemade wheels too. These might not even be like the ones that came with it, because this is definitely not something that needs custom wheels.
The one in there, that's very obviously a John Deere implement wheel.
Oh, really?
Like off of a that would be
the one I sent you.
Yeah, you can, because it can be inverted, from what I understand.
No.
Yeah, you can just put it on backwards. I guess is when you invert those.
If you want to be authentic, you got to make the other one different, because I think the other one is different on this one.
Yeah, but that's like that would be off like a forage harvester or a small square baler or something like that, right? That's a John Deere implement wheel.
There's the other one.
Yeah, and that's essentially the same thing, but obviously off of a different brand.
Yep.
I'm assuming you can just go to a store and buy those. I know Unroofer sells rims, so they're probably just a set of Unroofer rims off who knows what.
Yep.
They could be off a forage box, you know what I mean? Just anything.
Yep.
Some tillage equipment would have even used those.
Alright, I'm just going to stretch this boy out a little bit more. And it's just so there's room for bearings and things. There we go.
And when you do put it back together, leave that as a separate object, so if you do want to scale it down in the editor.
Oh, good point.
Because you never know what you're going to... If you're not sure what you're going to use, you might as well keep it...
What do you mean put it back together?
Not put it back together, sorry, but like when you start joining the cubes and the cylinders and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Sorry.
No,
I'm really tired as well.
No, yeah, you're good. Okay, so that's actually done.
I was up to a very long hour fixing that. We got the barn cleaner working last night.
You push yourself so hard to get these things done.
I do.
All right.
But at least I'm very certain that the announcement on Thursday is not a new game.
Are you very certain?
Okay, so back in March on SteamDB there was an L DLC on there, and they must have pressured Steam to remove it so that people didn't know what it was.
Right.
It was as they went to make the teaser, and Thursday's Earth Day, and there's a Austrian company called Lindner, and they make electric farm equipment.
Uh-oh.
So there's gonna be a very, very angry community that was expecting a new game launch.
Dude, if they don't announce it soon, like, is it not coming? You know what I mean?
Well. Yeah. Okay, so this DLC would likely be free if it's launching on Earth Day. It's probably launching. You know what I mean? Like it's not just gonna be like just like they did with that TerraTrack or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I don't think it's called TerraTrack, but that thing. It's likely like that, and it's just like, here's the trailer, here it is, kind of thing.
Oh, sure.
So it's probably gonna be a free expansion. No, I do believe that the new game, the question is, will they make a new one, or will they do what Arma 3 did, and just ride out a very good platform for a very long time, just constantly adding DLCs and fixing stuff. But that would imply they'd have to fix stuff.
We all know how often that happens.
Yeah.
All right. I got to build the rest of this trailer on this side. And I know that the length from the end tip to the third from the front is 136 inches. So I can take you, and we will snap cursor to... no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, snap cursor to selected. And the origin is in the center there. And then we're going to move it until we're snapped at the end here. And then you can go G, Y, negative 136. Oh, positive 136. That's a problem. What have I done? Is that correct? My frame isn't quite long enough.
I believe you're right. Is that only a 6-bale? Yeah, it's a 6-bale trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, your frame, I think, is a little short.
Well, that's a good thing that that's extremely fixable. First off, let's join all of these except... Okay, that's already all one piece. No, it's not. Do you, do you, do you, do you, do you, and you last. And we'll join all you. Okay. And then we're going to parent. So if you do a parent in Blender, like a parent object, it'll show up as the same thing as being nested like in the trees in Blender. So when this cylinder is underneath this cube in the Blender tree, because I parented it, it'll show up as a... It'll be the same way in Giants Editor.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
That's very useful for getting stuff figured out.
So what are you about to do? Because you just joined a bunch of that stuff, didn't? Or you just grouped it?
I joined all of this, but not this. So
Waiting for it to catch up.
I can see where it is in there. Yeah. Yeah, I figured this thing doesn't actually, because I got this measurement is 160. Okay, here's what we're going to work from the back. We're going to keep consistency. We're going to keep consistency, and we're going to work from the back. So let me join all these again. And it's easy to, I can undo the join too later. It's a little tedious, but if it's like really bad, I can do that too. So this from the back to here. So let's move from the back. You can move this back. Oh. Shift D, Y, there, and then snap cursor to selected, and then we can move it back to the back here. And then we can...
I have no idea what you're about to do here, but I think you're about to grab it and scale it from the back, right?
I'm just, yeah, so I moved it to all the way to the back because I have the tape measure set out, and I'm going to GY 165, negative 165. Is that right? Oh yeah, because there's one more between them. Okay, so that's there. And then I know that these are spaced, they're 40, I think they're made for 48-inch round bales.
That sounds about right.
And these are spaced because they're spaced 37 inches apart. So Shift D, Y, 37. Okay, there we go. That's looking pretty good. Oh, one more thing with the visuals on this. I noticed it's not looking quite right, so I'm going to click this, and I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to shade them flat. There we go. Well, that doesn't transition very smoothly. Let me select these edges and mark them as not sharp. Clear sharp. This just doesn't flow right. I'm just gonna keep them marked smooth. Sometimes it's weird to play with those objects like that to get that transition. So anyway, round bale, round bale. We need 2 more.
Wait, I wasn't staring at my screen. Did you actually grab the rear end of that thing yet?
No, I haven't actually moved it yet.
Okay, I was gonna say I was gonna say you're missing one still.
Yep, I need 2 more, and I know the measurement from the back here to this one is 165. That's good. That's good. I might actually move this over a little bit to center it. I might center it between these 2 objects because I kind of guessed where this one was going to go because I think I forgot to measure where these are. But I know they would probably center it as best as possible between these 2. So okay, but regardless, we can do that later. Let's get this to the right length. I took another long measurement of the piece, and I noted that the measurement from the end here to this piece is 136.5, so it'd be, yeah, from the end to there, 136.5 inches because these end plates are 0.5 inches thick. So let's select this. And then vertexes, select this here. And then we can move this back to here, lined up there. And then we can GY negative 136.5. Okay. There's our proper frame length. Perfect.
There we go.
That's looking about right, I would say.
I'd say so. That looks. So how come you made it smaller in the first place?
I just did some mental math wrong.
Oh, okay.
I took the measurements incorrectly. I had to do some overlapping measurements in the field.
Oh, okay.
Because my tape measure wasn't long enough. So.
Yeah, rookie mistake.
Yeah, I didn't have a freaking 20-foot tape measure. My bad. So Shift D, Y. How far did I say it was? 37 inches between them. I was also very distracted while I was doing this, so I didn't get all the measurements I quite needed.
Oh boy.
I got enough though.
That's all that counts, right? As long as you get enough.
Exactly. Oh, I did take... Oh! Okay. I did take a measurement. I took a measurement... Okay. I did get a good measurement of that. I missed that. I can fix that. That's good. Okay. Where the heck did I put that? That's one of the first things I'm... 30... no, that's 41. It's 37 between them. So we can move it negative 37. Okay. And then we'll Shift D, Y, negative 37. Okay. There we go. That's the whole kit and caboodle right there. And it does not have a super long tongue.
No, and it wouldn't really need one. Well, I guess it would help if you wanted to actually turn and not rock the round bale off.
Right. Okay. That's good. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't. It does not. Okay. So that's pretty good. I think that's everything that needs to be mirrored. So I could go ahead and I could show you how to, well, let me center this first. I did take the measurement from about, the center of here to here is about 41 inches, give or take a few pieces. So, oh yeah, that just looks funky because of the lighting. Okay, so we can take this and this, cursor to selected, and then we can go here, and then we can GY negative 41. Okay. Look at that. It worked. It was correct. And then we can measure from this point to this point is about 41.8, and this point to this point is about 40.2. Because I think I measured, because I want to center this. Because I think my tape measure, that's a good sanity check, but I think my tape measure had to sit on one end of it, and it just got like an extra inch over. So, not that it probably would have been welded super accurately in real life, right? Because it was probably just a welded together trailer.
You're lucky that the axles are even lined up with each other.
Yeah, for sure. Adds to the charm.
Yep.
All right.
So sometime you're gonna have to show everybody how you make something just off of auction pictures, because this is a rare occurrence where you can actually just measure every piece of something.
Yeah, and I definitely could have done this just off of pictures, but
Oh, this is way faster though. This is like whipping something off an AutoCAD, but this is still really cool to watch.
right, more Blender methodology than
Yeah,
modeling
exactly.
methodology per se. A little bit of there and a little bit of there, because I guessed it how far these were apart, and I guessed it where this was, and a few other things. But yep, very fortunate to actually have the measurements. So let me snap cursor to selected, and then let me mirror this here. And then if I want to center this, which I think I'm just going to try to center it, what I would do is I'd go here and I'd snap cursor to selected, which should put it in the exact middle because they're the exact same thing.
Yep.
And then what I can do is I can select this. I can select this part and this part, and then I can snap selection to cursor. Oh, but that moved that part too. Okay, so I'm just going to join these together for the time being. I can always separate them later, just for movement's sake. And then I can snap selection to cursor. And then that should put it in the exact middle of the two objects, which is nice. And then I can go here, and I can move it over. Oh. Select this object, move it over here, and then I can drag this here, and I can move you down to here. Okay. Move here, and move here. And we're back where we started, and we're exactly in the middle between those two Bale. Should be anyway.
Hey, that's starting to look proper.
Starting to look proper. To there. There you go, 40.3083 from both sides.
Huh.
Perfect. That's a nifty way to center something. All right, last thing I'll do tonight is I'm gonna just mirror these. So instead of doing it, this should be, I think I made the bar, started from a Blender cube. The Blender cube is this object here. And I think this is exactly in the middle of the y-axis. So what I should be able to do here, I'll select all these objects, and then I'll go to the modifier properties over here, and I'll add a modifier, and I'll add a mirror modifier. And I'll make the axis that I'm mirroring it along, the object I'm going to mirror it along is going to be this. Actually, how is this? Normally this isn't how I do this, but I was going to try to do the mirror modifier. What happens if I just do it to one object? Oh, there we go. See that? Pop. Wait for it to catch up. Just one object. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Easy.
You could pretty much finish this tonight if you wanted to.
Pretty much.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna finish modeling and then do texturing and whatnot the next.
Yeah. I might actually be going to bed here. I might have to wrap up some of the smaller modeling stuff tomorrow, and then I'll go. Well, this is the fun thing about this is I can do it quick enough that I can go through modeling and then texturing, and then even I can do some baking and some substance paintering and all this other stuff, and then in-gaming, XMLing, and collision meshes and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because you'll be able to do it in a very short amount of time. Like not even time. Sorry, I mean each video is going to be well into the 2-hour mark, but you're looking at only watching 4 or 5 videos at most.
Yeah.
But the big thing is you really gotta watch everything to really get it all. Like, I know I'm gonna have to go back and watch this all. I know it's gonna be hard because
it's boring.
Yeah, to say the least.
That's just the way that tutorials are.
Yeah,
so
that's what I struggle with trying to learn Blender is I just can't focus on watching a tutorial. Doesn't help that my Discord's constantly ringing with people wanting to do voice chat.
And then there's me like, hey, come watch my stream. Come look at the stream. Oh, stream.
So, see, that's different though. I was talking about if you pop into the New Breed chat when you're done here, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, gotcha. Why is this not? Just trying to get this to the edge here. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Just do a couple little things before. Just some tidy up work. Because all of these are duplicated the same. So I can set my cursor to the edge here. And then I can use the move tool. And I can move it to line up with the edge there. Okay. So that's good. The way I like... What?
Oh, I waiting on it to catch up here, but I thought you were going to mirror all those.
I was just moving them around because they're actually slightly inside or outside the frame.
Oh, okay.
My way of mirroring things, I don't like to... The modifier is kind of weird sometimes. I'm going to select you, you, and you. And then I'm going to press Shift-D to duplicate. And then just press Enter immediately to put it in the exact same place. And then right-click Mirror along X local. And there we go. And it's done.
Huh. I'll be damned. So, right now on the screen, I can see there's a shadow thing there.
Yeah, at the bottom here.
Yeah, what's going on there?
2 objects intersected. This went over the halfway point. So, they're intersecting each other.
So now it's the battle of the 2 objects.
Exactly. So, what I can do is I might just delete these vertices, and then I should set it to ultra low latency so you can see what I'm doing and hearing more often. And then I'll select these, and then I'll select this, and then I will just put my cursor here, and I'll move them over until they line up. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
And then I can join them.
Look at that.
So yeah.
Mint.
All there's left to do now is the hitch, the jack stand, and the parking stand. I call it a jack stand, but whatever. It doesn't have a mechanism. The hitch, the stand, and then I can make the Macander logo on the side. And I might actually make that as a 3D object instead of a 2D object because it's not a sticker. It's a plastic piece that's like bolted to the side of the front of the frame here. So.
Could always show people how to make that a normal map too.
Oh yeah, and then I could make that a normal map if I wanted to. Oh, normal mapping's easy if you have a high and low poly version. It's just tough to get those to line up. Let's see. How thick is a hitch pin? What's the diameter of a hitch pin?
Oh, I don't know.
Pop
1 7/8, just off the top of my head. 1 7/8 inch, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
I'm gonna Google it.
Actually, I might undo all that. And just...
Coming up with 1 inch by 7.5 inches long. I was way off, but that's a tiny one. So let's go till I prove myself right here. 1.5 inch. Must have been really wrong on this one.
They might have varying sizes too, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Found a 68-page university article on hitch pins.
Would you do your MBA on hitch pins? Alright, here's a fun little trick for you. Something else. I decided I wanted to redo this a little bit. I wasn't liking the way it was looking or whatever. But, so I've got these two down here again, right? They're separated.
Yeah.
And, if you grab this here and you move it across, the two vertexes will be in the same place, right? Because they snap to each other. That can cause problems, and it's just a waste of vertexes. So what you can do is I'll select all of them, and I'll go to mesh, and I'll go to cleanup, and then I'll go merge by distance. And then I'll click merge by distance, and it will remove 0 of them. Because, oh, they're not the same object. That's right. Okay. And then mesh, cleanup, merge by distance. And then it'll remove the 4 vertices. They have to be the same object to do that, but it's a way to, if you have a bunch of vertices that are really close together, or you pushed a couple faces together, you don't want duplicate vertices there. You can just merge by distance, and you can set the distance to which it needs to merge, and then it'll do that.
Huh.
And then I can select this edge, and I can dissolve them. Right-click, dissolve edges. Unless it's not going to dissolve them because it doesn't feel like it. Oh, they probably can't be dissolved. They might be critical for the shape, the geometric shape. But anyway, you can't really tell the difference, so it's fine. But I showed another way to do that. So, there you go. Oh, there's a face in there. Is there a face in there? Oh, there's a face inside there. That's a problem. Delete faces. There you go. Now I can dissolve these edges, and they don't even have to exist or add any texture space or anything. There we go. There's another way to do it.
There you go. That looks really professional.
There you go. So, yeah, that's another way to do it. And then I think these are pretty well set in their positioning. So we're just going to do this, 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 this. this, and then this. And then we're just gonna join. Oh, one more thing before I do that. Well, it doesn't need to be... The center of the vehicle doesn't need to be... More of an in-gaming question you might be familiar with. The center of... Like, if the center of the baler is here, is that going to cause problems? As opposed to if it was exactly in the center, or...
Hold on. Go. He's
Where
trying
does...
to catch up.
See if the center was on the orange circle there. Is that going to be okay? Or should I move it to the, like, exact center of the bar? I think it'll be okay, right?
For doing the center of gravity and whatnot, the
Well,
XML.
just to be the center of everything in the i3D.
Yeah, it should be centered.
Okay, is that an okay center, or should I do it the exact middle of the bar?
I did the exact middle just because it's going to be easier, because all of your i3, when you do the i3, the XML, your center of gravity and all that stuff is going to be based off of that. If that makes sense.
All right, so I'm going to do right-click the bar origin to center of mass volume, and then I'm going to select all of this and then this, and then I'm going to join them, and it'll keep that same center, and then I will right-click and I will snap cursor to world origin, and then I'll select the object and I'll snap selection to cursor to center it, and then I'll go GZ, move it up a little bit for a wheel, and then done. There you go.
There you go.
Now the center of this bar is now the center of the object. The exact middle.
And that's going to make it easier if you have to mess around with center of gravity and whatnot.
Yep. Not necessarily the center of all the mass, but that's the exact center of the frame, so. Okay. So yeah, and then I can, if you wanted to separate these cylinders here, like you said, we'll go to here, and then I can circle select this, and then, oh shoot, I don't know what happened there. I can deselect you and deselect you. And so I have those cylinders selected, and then I can press P, and then I can separate the selection, and then I can press C. Now these are a separate part, and I can select all these, and then I can P separate selection.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I know how to do in Blender effectively.
Well, there you go. And you also remember, there's another thing you can do if you select like this. If you have all of these, you can also select, and then you can separate by loose parts too, which is things that are separate meshes will become separate objects.
Wait, hold on.
Pro tip. Like if you had a pile of sticks that were all one object, right?
Yeah.
Each stick would have its own individual vertex sets. If you separated by loose parts, Blender knows what vertexes are and aren't selected. So for example, if I selected all of this, and then I went P, I selected all of it, and then I P by loose parts, see that all these become separate parts now?
And this works, say, even if you brought a model back from the Giants editor?
Yeah, because the meshes are retained. See, now everything is a separate part.
You just ruined my entire life.
Because if you've been selecting meshes manually and tediously putting them back together in a part, I'm sorry, you could have done that in like a half a second.
Yeah, well, at least I'm really good at it now.
There you go. No, I did that for a long time too, until I saw somebody point it out in a tutorial, and I'm like, what? I did like a double take. I was like, oh my gosh. So there you go. Pro tip: if they're all separate like meshes, they're not connected. Their vertexes aren't connected by lines. You can just blow it apart into individual pieces. So maybe that'll save you time in the future.
Oh, that's gonna save me a lot of time in the future.
Good. And then the other,
Thanks, man.
the other selector, the other P is by material. So if you have everything mapped out to separate materials, it'll pop those apart too. So that's also good to know.
Yeah.
But
I never messed around with materials, but that loose parts thing, that's probably about the only thing I've taken from this that I can really apply without watching this over and over and trying it myself.
oh my gosh.
But that was like that was worth the entire thing right there.
There you go. At least you
Even
can
if I take,
remember that.
at least I can remember that.
You can press F12 to do a quick render. Everything looks janky. Because of course it does. I might even just like, because I might even move these planes up a little bit just so they have a little bit of separation. But just so they don't look like they're one smooth continuous piece, because they're not. But who knows? That's looking pretty good. We got the entire base frame done. The only things I have left to do are the hitch pin and the parking stand.
Which are pretty, they're decently easy, right?
Oh yeah.
I think Giants gives you some parking stands, don't they? In the
Yeah. I think I'll make my own though. It's not hard. It's a couple rectangles inside each other.
yeah.
So I didn't even look at what the bottom looked like because it was so buried in deep grass. I didn't see it, but that's fine. I'll use my imagination. I imagine it's probably square, which isn't too much of a stretch of the imagination. Yeah. I mean, then you can go here, and then we can apply material, and then we can make it nice colors, change its metallicness, and then your F12 renders look all fancy and nice, but when you UDIM, you want everything on the same material, so it's kind of pointless, unless you really just want to show it off.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people like to show it off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I did that with my rotary hoe too. It's just fun. So
I never did find you the hitch pin size, but I did manage to scroll through all 68 pages of that PDF.
what was their conclusion?
It
really matter.
it just talked about why about all the dangerous stuff you can do by using a bolt or an adjustable hammer as a hitch pin.
I've seen a lot of people do it, and sometimes it can end very poorly.
Yeah, I never really thought of that because I never heard of it ending poorly here, but there's definitely some pictures of it ending poorly in this PDF.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think that's about it for the stream. I've been going for almost 3 hours now, so.
Well, that's a lot of progress, and if I can find the time and patience to sit down and watch this all, I'll learn a thing or two. But I already learned something major.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
That alone was worth sitting here.
Absolutely. All right. See you, stream. See you in the next episode of Blender Cube to Bale trailer. Ended stream. Perfect.
Awesome. That
Woo!
was